The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to this morning's Helpline session with your hosts, James McDonald and Craig Proctor.
Well, welcome everybody to our Monday morning helpline session. I hope all of you came ready with questions. A lot of you were at the boot camp on Friday. What a great day we had. That was quite phenomenal. It was great seeing everybody, and I think we had a really great day, and judging by the feedback that we got, you who attended really enjoyed it as well. So those are something that we do pretty regularly. So on the coaching website, we'll continue to book those and make you well aware of the one-day boot camps. But of course, today is our open forum helpline, which means we can discuss any topic you want to. You want to talk about lead generation, which we did a great deal on Friday at the boot camp. You want to talk about lead conversion, any of the USPs, that was a topic of discussion to a huge degree on Friday also. Your presentations, building your team, anything at all, the sky's the limit. Remember, on Monday mornings, you determine the agenda that we're going to talk about. So having said that, let's get started. Craig, welcome to our session here today. Craig has joined us, everybody. How you doing?
Very good, James. Good morning to everyone.
Excellent, excellent. Good morning to you, Andrea. And yeah, let's get started here.
Okay, if you haven't done so already, go ahead and type your question in the chat box, or click the yellow or orange hand icon in your webinar control panel if you have a working mic or on the telephone, and we can get your question asked aloud. Okay, Craig, did you want to start reading some of the comments, or you want me to start with that today?
Yeah, I see we've got a question here, a chat question from Sherry, and she's asking, how does one hide the pages of the presentations that we don't want the client to see? Okay, well, on PowerPoint, it's pretty easy to hide a slide, so that's all you're doing. So all you have to do is hide the slide on PowerPoint. I wouldn't recommend changing the order, but of course, on PowerPoint, you could do that as well. And I certainly wouldn't recommend that you delete any of the slides in case at some point in the future you want to offer that program. But yeah, all you have to do is hide the slide.
By the way, you if you are using a PC, you left click on the slide, and it'll give you the option of hiding it. So you can hit hide or unhide, and if it's a Mac, then you just push 2 fingers down on the mouse pad, and it gives you the exact same options in the pop-up box.
On sessions 5 and session 6, we actually go through step by step on how to hide slides during, I believe it's about 30 minutes into the webinars. When Craig is finished going over, he shows you that. So if you want to watch session 5 and session 6 on the buyer and listing presentations, you can watch how to hide each slide.
So James, let's talk about the boot camp a few days ago. What are some of the best things that came out of the boot camp?
You know, Craig, I got to tell you, it was very likely lead generation, and I'll tell you why. Is that, you know, where we are right now with lead generation is this: you're either generating your own leads yourself, running, you know, classified ads, some editorial ads, maybe you're running some online ads on Google or Facebook, etc., or you are using some of the companies that do a really good job of lead generation, and you're hiring those companies. So, and this is what we found, you know, Bold Leads and, you know, Z-Buyer, and there were, I mean, we must have discussed a half a dozen different companies that Commissions Inc. That generate leads. And you know, really being in the room on Friday, what we kind of concluded is this: when you rely on these companies to generate your leads, it does cost money, more money than it would to do it yourself, but the number of leads that are generated is far more consistent and predictable. Whereas what we found is that for the majority that are generating their own leads, you know, they've got a success website set up and they're relying on their own ads. We find that that's not quite the case. So it means there's a lot more trial and error, a lot more testing that's involved when you're running your own ads. So this is something that we really got to keep our eye on. And I mean, ultimately what would be fantastic is to have the least expensive options for lead generation put in place, because what all of us agreed on is that it is lead conversion that matters. Without lead conversion, you can generate all the leads in the world, and with good lead conversion, you don't need all the leads in the world. As a matter of fact, all you need is consistent, predictable lead generation, but a few leads a day is more than ample. And those students of the system that were in the room on Friday that demonstrated a real ability to use the universal script and they had their presentations down, it's very simple. When they generated leads, they sold, they closed deals. And so we know where the training lies in developing those skills. And in lead generation, it really involves copying, whether that's copying running your own ads or copying by purchasing leads from one of these companies. We've got to get the lead generation system down so that we can move on to developing the skills for lead conversion. That was really the theme on Friday, I felt.
Okay, very good. Yeah, we got some super feedback over the weekend from those that attended, so great job. All right, Andrea, are there any audio questions at this point?
We do. We have an audio question from Jazz Bahia. Your mic is now open.
Hi, Craig.
How you doing?
I'm all right. I'm all right. I just want to make sure you guys could hear me, Craig. I had a question about the platinum, the FSBO, when you're mailing out to FSBOs and expireds.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to get. I went through the checklist. I still couldn't understand where to start with the mailings. Like, what's the first? I'm trying to systemize it so I can give it to my admin, and then she can just do it, type of thing.
Okay. The first thing I would do, Jazz, if you want to target for sale by owners and expired home sellers, the very first thing I would do before you do the mailing, have you run the editorial ads targeting FSBOs and expireds?
No, I haven't. No.
Let me tell you the difference between those, and Andrea, maybe you can pop those on the screen. Okay. What you're suggesting, what you're talking about is sending out a direct mail piece to somebody that is already expired off of the market, correct?
Correct.
That means hundreds of agents potentially are contacting that home seller that just expired off the market last night. So you're selling in a highly competitive environment. Now, if you take a look at what we're going to show you, okay, that's the FSBO ad. Now, pop over to the expired for a second, Andrea, please. Okay, take a look at this. How to sell a home that didn't sell. So if we go to the expired campaign, the difference with this approach is you're selling in a vacuum. Okay, the ad that's on your screen right now appears to be an editorial. It looks like news. This is going to run the local newspaper or online. Most newspapers have an online version. And when prospects respond to this, okay, their home hasn't expired yet. Okay, so if you get somebody that's still on the market now, their home hasn't quite expired, and I ran this editorial ad the third week of every month because most homes expire at the end of the month. Wouldn't it be better to talk to somebody that hasn't quite come off the market yet? If they contact you, are you able to speak to them and set an appointment? The answer is yes. So you could set up an appointment and already have the appointment booked before all the other real estate agents are calling them. So you're selling in a vacuum as opposed to selling in a highly competitive environment. That's the first thing that I would do. Now, can you also send the mailings out to those that have expired off the market, expired already? Yes, you can. But that would be the second thing I would do. So if we put things in an order of what I would do first and what I would do second, I'd prefer to sell in a vacuum versus a highly competitive environment. Now, if we can flash the FSBO ad up there as well, Andrea, please. Same thing with for sale by owners. We could wait until the for sale by owner sticks their for sale by owner sign on their front lawn and places their for sale by owner ad in the newspaper or online. We could do that, and we would operate in a highly competitive environment because dozens of real estate agents are going to be after that FSBO. And the question you got to ask yourself is, what's the chance of me getting that listing with all that competition? What's the chances of me getting that? Here's a better question. What's the chance of me getting that listing at the right price, at the right commission rate, and for the right length of time when I'm operating in a highly competitive environment like that? I think you'd agree, not good. So I run this ad. Okay, how to sell your house without an agent. There's another version there. I think it says how to sell your home and save the commission. So I'm getting the person that hasn't decided to go for sale by owner to contact me. Now, most of them will never, when the rubber hits the road, they'll never attempt to sell FSBO, but I'm getting to them first. Okay, that's the way I would prefer to do it. That would be the first thing I would try to do. And then if I want to market to somebody that's already decided to sell for sale by owner, they've already got their sign on the front lawn, then I would go directly to them with these marketing pieces. So I would say there's an order to this. And I don't think anyone in our group here today would rather sell in a highly competitive environment rather than as opposed to selling in a vacuum.
I totally agree with everything you said. When we were in San Diego for the boot camp there, I had the pleasure of speaking with some other members, and a lot of them, well, not a lot of them, the ones that I did speak to, they found that, you know, the mailers, that they actually do work very well in, well, for them anyways, in the Toronto market. Well, I shouldn't say Toronto market, in any market for that matter. The ones that I spoke to were from Toronto, and they found it to be working very well. So I kind of wanted to do that as well as run.
Well, I'm saying do both. I'm not, you know, don't hear me wrong on this. I'm saying don't do it. I'm saying for me, there's a pecking order. The best prospects to get are the people that haven't yet expired off the market, and you can't mail to them. So you can't do what I'm proposing. You can't mail in Toronto. You're in Toronto, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so you can't mail to somebody that's about to expire off the market next week. You can't do that. But with what I just showed you, you can compel them to contact you. Once they expire, well, then it's game on. I mean, everybody's after them then. Then by all means send the letter. But you're making no attempt to get them to contact you before they expire, before you're selling in this highly competitive environment. Now, what I like about the direct mail piece, and hear me on this, is in a way, once it does expire, you are playing in a sandbox where the other agents in Toronto are not playing because you're the only guy using direct mail. That's why, as a second-prong approach, it works better than what the other realtors are doing, which is, you know, knocking on their door and calling them and driving them crazy. So I'm not saying don't do what you're doing, but you've given up on the best people, which are the people that haven't quite expired off the market.
Okay, so what I wanted to do was, when I was on the website or on the coaching site this weekend, I was trying to figure out where I could find the if it's broken down systematically. Like I remember Todd there, I did make notes, but I was hoping that from the site I'd be able to say, okay, you know, 5 days you mailed them, like they're color coded, so on and so forth, and it was always like a system that he broke down.
Correct. Okay, so I would shoot Todd an email and have him show you where on the Platinum site you can go through that, and he'll lay that all out for you. Perfect.
Okay.
Okay, I can't do it on our webinar here today because not everyone's in the Platinum program. So
yeah, okay.
Not everyone has access to that. But okay, so here's the takeaway from this. Don't forget to try to get to the people before they've expired or before they've got their for sale by owner sign on the front lawn. Okay, the best people are the people that you're going to sell to in a vacuum. They're the easiest people, I'm going to say. Do that as well as doing the direct mail out to the people that have already expired off the market or they already have decided to sell their home for sale by owner. Do both.
Okay, definitely. I'll definitely do it. Thanks, Craig. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. Let's see who's next.
Okay, at this time we have no further audio questions. Oh, one just popped up. Ronald Pitzel, your telephone line is open.
Hello, Craig and James. Can you hear me?
Hi, Ronald.
Loud and clear.
Yes, Ron Petzel, Exit Realty, Punta Gorda, Florida. Two separate questions. The first pertains to a buyer lead that would come into Commissions, Inc. or Market Leader. I guess it's irrelevant what site it comes into. Who handles that lead? What do they do with it, so to speak? I mean, besides using the universal script and so on. And how are they compensated?
Okay. So you should have somebody called an inside sales agent that helps you handle all these incoming leads.
Is that inside sales agent licensed or unlicensed?
Preferably licensed. In some places, they're going to have to be licensed. For example, in Canada, they have to be. In California, I don't think they have to be. In Florida, I believe they have to be. But I would prefer, even if they didn't have to be licensed, I would like them to be licensed because it's a better conversation if they're a better person, right? If they're actually a real estate agent versus a telemarketer. But you want somebody. You see, here's what you're asking is, you're saying, Craig, I need a process when leads are created. Now,
correct.
Do you have a team?
That's my second question.
Okay. So, well, that's my question. So what's the answer to that?
Well, the answer is working on it, and
okay.
I have 2 agents that are verbally on my team. We've done about 12 deals together in the last 2 months on a 50-50 split. That was my next question, was in putting together a team, what are the procedures? What is the compensation?
Okay. All right. So these are all good questions. So before we talk about what should be done, let's talk about what's happening right now. So when these leads come in from Commissions Inc. or wherever else, where are the leads going to now?
They are going to an agent that is paid by the hour to call them, answer emails, right now limited to about 20 hours per week.
Does this agent work exclusively for you? They're on your team?
She's one of the members on my team, and also one of she handles Lee County. So if a lead comes in and she brings it to the surface and it's Charlotte County or Sarasota County, it goes to a different agent named Mary. Or myself. Bottom line is I'm the one that dictates who gets what. But
okay, so what's this person's name who's taking all the leads?
Tammy.
Tammy. Okay. So Tammy, in essence, is your inside sales agent.
Correct.
Like Tammy's not running around with buyers and sellers.
No, she's running around with buyers and sellers as well, and that's my not a concern.
So
but
here's the problem.
As she grows, she has her own Commissions Inc. that she's just starting out with.
Yep.
Through our brokerage, and my issue is that she's great. I mean, she works hard, she does everything I ask, but she also has her own customers.
Okay. So here's what's wrong with what you're doing. Does Tammy get paid more money working, getting paid by hour, per hour, calling, doing the phone stuff for you? Or would Tammy make more money if she was running around with buyers and sellers?
She would make more money running around with a buyer and seller.
So that's what she's going to do. You see the problem?
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
so what we need?
The majority of them are my customers, and we're splitting 50-50.
Yeah, but she still prefers to do that, and she makes more money. Let me share with you where I'm going with this. I tried to do the same thing as you, Ron. When I couldn't handle all the leads, you've heard me probably talk about the first licensed agent I hired. Her name was Lindy Black. And Lindy was motivated, and she was very good with buyers and sellers. And so I thought, well, I'll give the leads to Lindy. But if I gave Lindy 20 leads, because she was pretty good on the phone, I'm sure just like Tammy is, they call 2 or 3 leads, they book a buyer appointment or a listing appointment, boom, they're at the door doing that, and the other 17 leads don't get called. So what I discovered is I needed to hire an inside sales agent, somebody that I would not allow them to go out and meet with buyers and sellers. Their skill was going to be on the telephone. I want you to think of this as a 2-tier system. Okay, so tier 1 is we need someone to handle, like a quarterback at the office, that handles all the leads, and either you can decide who the leads go to, or preferably this person would be very good at knowing who should get the leads based on geography. So in Sarasota County, you have somebody there that's good, and in Charlotte County, you've got somebody else that's good. and then you can even break that down in price range. So maybe in Sarasota County, you've got somebody that's better with high-end versus low-end buyers, and so on. So that's what you're looking for. You're looking for an office quarterback. The problem is Tammy is really an outside sales agent, and you're giving her the leads. And she may never want to be an inside sales agent.
So the first layer would be to have an inside salesperson that is preferably licensed, that does not want to show buyers property or go on listing appointments.
Correct. Now, here's the question. Would there be somebody in your area that would like to have a guaranteed salary and make a small commission and work to a set normal 40-hour work week? Would there be a real estate agent like that somewhere in Charlotte or Sarasota County?
Very possible. I haven't asked. My question is, though, a set 40-hour week, when you have 10 new leads come in on a Saturday and 9 on a Sunday, they need to be called.
Correct. So you're going to hire a second one that works those hours.
Okay.
Okay. So I had 4 inside sales agents. I mean, I started with 1. Like if you had 1 right now, wouldn't that make your life easier? Even if you had to field the calls on the weekends and the evenings for now, let's start with 1. But ultimately, you're going to have all the hours of the week covered by experts that answer the phones. Now, let me tell you why this is not going to work. It's not going to work unless you can delegate a system to them. Okay, you can't abdicate this. This is why every Thursday, James and I go through the role play. We role play with the universal callback script because we need you to be an expert at it first so you can teach them how to do this. Here's what won't work. If you just hire a bunch of people and say, look, there's this script here, like go do this, and good luck with it, and that's not going to work because you're abdicating responsibility. Okay, you can only delegate something that you're good at. So when you hire this first person, you would make the phone calls and you would train them how to do it, and then on a weekly basis, you're going to spot check them. That's why James and I do the role play sessions with you guys every week, because we have to. If we don't do it every week, then you guys get off the script.
And what would be a compensation for this first inside salesperson to work Monday through Friday from 9 to 5 or 10 to 6 or 11 to 7, whatever I designate, but I put an ad in the paper and say 40 hours a week, guaranteed, salary plus commission?
That's exactly what the ad should say. So it would say unique real estate agent opportunity. You know, this may be the only opportunity in Sarasota County or Charlotte County for an agent to make to work a set 40-hour work week, to make a guaranteed salary plus commission. Now, I think you would agree somebody could make a lot of money on the phone. They could make 70 grand in commission on the phone if they were really good at this or more. They could maybe make $100,000 a year. So
their compensation would be how much per hour and how much percentage of my
well,
sales?
you're going to have to play with that in your marketplace. Obviously, if you're in New York City, you're going to pay somebody more than if you're in Kansas. So I paid them weekly. Okay, I paid them $500 a week. Plus, I paid them a 10% commission. So they made about $25,000 on salary. But I don't want somebody there that's there for the salary. They've got to produce.
So $500 a week for 40 hours and 10% of my commissions?
Yeah, when it closes, they're going to get 10% off the top.
Okay.
So if the commission check was for $10,000, they get $1,000, and then you split the rest of it.
Okay.
Now, one of my best
if
guys...
If I have a team,
yep,
which is my ultimate goal, listening to you guys, is to have a team, and of course my coach, Joey Trombley, has a team, is how does this inside salesperson get a 10% of their commission?
Well, yeah, off the top, I said.
Okay, but it doesn't matter who's selling it at this point. The lead came in through Commissions Inc., let's say, and you're my inside salesperson at X amount of dollars per hour per week, and then you're going to get 10% of whoever that customer comes to the surface and either buys or lists with us.
Correct.
Doesn't matter whether it's me or one of my team members, it's paid out of their commission.
Yeah, if you were the inside sales agent, then you would get paid that. If you made the call yourself, then we're going to consider you in this situation the inside salesperson. So if the total commission was $10,000 for easy math, $1,000 goes off the top, whether it's you that set the appointment or one of your inside salespeople, and then the other $9,000, if you were on a 50-50 split with your outside sales agent, would be split $4,500 apiece.
Okay. And speaking of team, my last question is, their compensation, like I say, right now is on a 50-50 split with me. I basically pay this inside sales agent to bring the customer to the surface. She says, Ron, we've got a buyer for Charlotte County, basically $100,000 and under I don't want to deal with, so I turn it over to Mary. Mary closes it, and we split 50-50. My question is, if Mary has her own buyer, her own listing, she listed the house across the street from her.
Yep.
What happens? Am I entitled to 50% of hers? Does she work exclusively for
me,
me, or does she have the freedom?
Okay, so here's the answer to that. If they're newer agents, they can't really argue that they've got a lot of clientele. If they did, they shouldn't be coming to work with you in the first place, right? So if they're newer agents, the deal is yes. If you sell a house to your mother, you know, like we're splitting it 50-50. If it's an established agent, okay, it's going to be harder to recruit them on that basis. So if I was hiring an agent that's been in the business for 10 years, I would say, okay, Ron, I'll tell you what. You've been in business for 10 years. Provide me a list of 25 people that we're going to protect. And if any one on your list of 25 prospects does business, then we'll do that at a 75-25 split, and you get the 75. But you've got to give me the list in advance, and we'll protect 25 people.
Okay.
Okay, now remember, this is not going to be easy to get this team thing right, but I also want you to remember what's your option here. If this was easy, everyone would have the team. You're going to work at it, and you're going to have bad days, and you're going to have days when you're going to think, is this all worth it? But, you know, remember, what's your option? Because if you don't figure this team thing out, you're imprisoned by this job called real estate for the rest of your life.
I agree.
Right. So you're going to have bad days. You're going to think, you know, it's going to be hard to recruit people and to get your people to do what you want them to do. But the payoff at the end, the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, is huge. And the benefit you have with us is we've done it before. We're talking about something we know how to do.
My inside sales agent could also, because they're not going to be on the phone every minute of every day, because they're only going to be working customers and answering emails and so on, but also could double as a administrative assistant, personal assistant for myself.
Yes, to begin with.
Okay.
Yep, you're paying them $500 a week. They could do some admin stuff for you, but if they're really good on the phone, you don't want them doing that. You want them on a person that's really good on the phone. I don't want them running around doing admin stuff. They'll make more money for you on the phone versus making photocopies.
Gotcha.
But to begin with, that's totally fine. Now, so look keep in touch with this as this is going. But this is a series of positions. You're going to start off like with one person, you doing it, and over time, the idea is to slowly back yourself out of this by hiring the right person at the right time, doing the right thing. If you do that, it works.
Okay. Very good. I appreciate the time.
All right. Thanks, Ron. We're going to go to some chat questions now. Alexandra says, Craig and James, thank you so much for the amazing boot camp. I signed up for bold leads, and I've got a bunch of leads already over the weekend. Awesome. Good to hear that. And a lot of you are having success with bold leads, so seems to be a good fit with our program. Derek Walker's asking this question. Hi, Craig and James. what do we do with out-of-town clients where you can't meet with them? Do you set them up on daily email updates, or do you just wait until you can meet with them in person, or pitch them over the phone and wait until they sign the contract? Okay, so the question, or the answer, Derek, is all of the above. A lot of our members work in resort areas, okay, like Ronald, who we're just speaking to, is in Sarasota County, Charlotte County, so he's going to have a lot of snowbirds coming down and buying in those areas. So if the buyer's in Michigan and they were coming to Sarasota in the next couple of weeks, Ron would just book the appointment at his office, and it's business as normal, meet with them, get them signed to an exclusive buyer agency agreement. But if the person in Michigan wasn't coming to Florida for 3 or 4 months, then you're going to do the buyer presentation via a webinar. You're going to do it right over the telephone and get it signed that way. So time is really going to tell you the answer. Their timing as to when they're going to be in your marketplace. Next question is from Lisa. Lisa says, when advertising unique selling proposition, should we do it branded or unbranded? Always branded. Always branded. When you're promoting your unique selling proposition, you're always trying to associate that big benefit with you. The difference between USP advertising and image advertising is as follows. With image advertising, there's a glamour shot of yourself, and you're saying, call me. Call me, I'm a real estate agent. With USP advertising, yes, there's going to be the picture of you and your name and your company name, your logo, whatever, but most importantly, with USP advertising, you're associating a very powerful, unique and powerful benefit to your identity. Okay, with less branded advertising, you're just trying to generate a lead. In no way is that lead associated with you or any of your USPs. Next question is from my buddy Ernest in Tampa. Ernest says, am I better off pausing my Success website Google ad campaign and putting the same money towards my Commission Inc. lead gen website? Our office just started with Commissions Inc. Most of my Success website Google AdWord leads are either poor leads or poor price point or pipeline leads, so future business. Well, look, only you can answer that question, Ernest, but I can say this. If what you're doing isn't working with Google, then doing more of the same is going to get you more of the same. So I would either change up what you're doing with Google. You're having Success website, do it. Maybe you should learn how to do it yourself. Nobody cares more about your business than you do. And the guys at Success website with Google, is it better than not doing Google at all? Yeah, it's probably better to have them do it than not do it at all. But there's nothing like actually understanding how to do it yourself, because you're going to do a much better job. Commissions Inc., we've got a lot of members having success with Commissions Inc. As I mentioned a minute ago, a lot of members having success with bold leads. When you talk to our top members, you're going to find that our very top members, those making in the high 6 and 7 figures, they're using all these things. And when you ask one of our top members, when you say, hey, why do you use Boomtown and Commissions Inc. and bold leads and Zeba, why do you do all this stuff? Their answer is this: because I make far more money on each and every one of those than what it costs me.
Right.
Pretty good answer, isn't it, James?
Yep, and that's what we found at the boot camp is, are those members that were there that are using these websites, they all could attribute directly income from each one of those, and very consistent income. And of course, there is no amount of money they could charge. I mean, even Commissions Inc. is, it's only expensive if you didn't convert any of the leads into commission checks, but they do. So as soon as you start converting the leads into commission checks, it's impossible for it not to turn a profit.
Yeah, you're just not going to reach everybody like just doing one or two things. So that would be like looking at my real estate business and saying, well, should I send out direct mail, and should I do newspaper, and should I do Facebook? And the answer is yes to all of them, because every one of those activities makes me far more than what it costs me. So yeah, if it works and you're making more money than the investment, then you keep doing it, you keep playing with it to see if you can make it even work better. Velmar's asking this question. In California, okay, so this is not a question, it's a statement or an observation. In California, you have to have a license if one is going to give information about real estate. Well, that might be true. I believe in California you can ask some questions, though, without having a license.
Yes, you're booking an appointment. So as long as you don't discuss real estate, in other words, if someone wanted to ask you about a certain property, if you were unlicensed, you could not discuss that. But if you read the universal script, and nowhere does it ask them about what they're looking for, nowhere does it discuss real estate or what real estate they're looking for, nor does it offer real estate advice. So the universal script, it's pretty clear, at least in California, you know, by virtue of hundreds and hundreds of students over the years using the system, that you don't need to have somebody licensed to use the universal script in California. What Craig is saying, though, is you're probably going to get a higher quality of person if they're licensed. You know, they could probably speak much more intelligently.
Lisa is asking, on our USP, do we want to say we will sell your house for free, or do we want to say we will waive our commission, and why? Okay, well, you could test both of those headlines. Lisa, I may recommend some other headlines before, some other programs before you go to this one, like why agree to waive all your commission to begin with? Why not do something like this? Your home sold in X amount of days, guaranteed, or I'll pay you $1,000 cash. Or your home sold for 100% of your asking price, or I'll pay you $1,000 cash. Why not, you know, be willing to give up $1,000 versus all your commission? Now, maybe you've tried that, but that would be my starting point, is let's try to give a little bit of away before we risk it all. And as far as your question, is it better to say, if we don't sell your house in X days, we'll sell it for free or we'll waive our commission? You could test both headlines. I don't know. I don't know if I really have a preference for one over the other. I would just test them out and see which one works the best. All right. Well, John says, very helpful conversation today. Thank you, John. Susan says, I tried this and know it does not work on the new site. Okay. Okay, so Andrea is helping Susan. There's a problem, is there, with Susan accessing the new site, Andrea?
Well, Susan's just having a little trouble getting logged on. I'm able to log on under her login, so I know it's working. So I'm just trying to work with her on getting her on the right URL.
Okay, Ernest is back here on his Google pay-per-click program with Success website. He says, I've been doing this for 6 months and no business. Okay, it's time to bail from that. Okay, look, here's what I don't want you guys doing. I don't want you doing anything for 6 months that doesn't work. If it doesn't work in the first couple weeks, that's indicative that it's not going to work. So this is why we call it direct response marketing. You should get an immediate direct response one way or the other. It's going to work or it's not going to work right away. There's no need to stick with anything for 6 months if it's not working. So, yeah, you want to bail from that and try something else.
Even 6 weeks for that matter.
Yeah, like you've been very patient, Ernest, and you know, maybe they're stringing you along saying, oh, we're you know, don't leave us, hang in there. Well, I don't want you to have any kind of patience for that. So yeah, you either figure out how to do Google pay-per-click on your own, okay, which many of our members do, and if you're not willing to do that, you should stop giving them money to do something that hasn't worked, no business in 6 months. Now, when you say no business in 6 months, the other thing we have to be careful of is, does that mean you got no leads in 6 months or you've made no money from those leads? And of course, when you're generating leads and you're not making any money, James and I are also very sensitive to the fact that, well, is it your conversion? So James, is it possible that Ernest could be generating Google pay-per-click leads and not converting them, and therefore saying, well, then we shouldn't do this anymore? and maybe it isn't the leads, and maybe it is, but maybe it isn't, and maybe it's what's happening or not happening to convert.
This is why it's good that you have multiple sources of lead generation, because then you'd know. Because if you said to us, yeah, you know what, it doesn't matter where the lead comes from, no matter what, the leads are no good, then immediately we know, well, what you're doing to follow up and convert the leads is probably flawed. But if all you're doing is one single thing, then it's impossible for us to know whether it's your lead conversion or whether it actually is the leads themselves. So this is why having multiple sources is absolutely critical.
Okay, so let's fine tune what you just said to make sure everybody gets it. Okay, so if I'm Ernest and I said to you, James, hey James, I've generated hundreds of leads from a whole bunch of different sources, and all the leads are crap. What would you think?
Your lead conversion is what is crap.
Okay. Now, if I said to you, hey James, this is Ernest, and I've generated 100 leads, and I'm doing a really good job converting the leads from this source and that source and this source. However, when the leads come in from Google pay-per-click, even though I can convert the other leads, I can't seem to convert any of these. What would you think?
Then it's the leads. Yes. Then that means what we need to do is we need to look at what you're offering in your ads on Google and either change it or get rid of it. But we cannot keep it the same way because it is the leads in that case. I mean, that's a scientific approach to it, is we can look at it and say, well, obviously, all things being equal, your lead conversion is good. With these leads, it isn't. So let's change the leads. Let's produce a higher quality of prospect. Or if we have to, let's take the money that you're putting forward to generate those leads that you can convert, and let's put that towards something else that might produce leads that you can convert. Also, what about putting more resources towards what you are converting? Like, Craig, I like the definition of a good marketer is a good tester. A good marketer quickly identifies what works and what doesn't. They eliminate or change what doesn't work, and they do more of the things that do work. They don't fight it. They say, hey, this is working. I'm going to do more of that. So it's a combination of changing or stopping what isn't working and doing more of the things that are. So if you say, well, what really is working for me is Facebook and my editorial ads. I say, well, how often do you do that? Well, Facebook, I've got a small budget, and editorials I do once every 2 weeks. Why don't we do twice as much of that instead? If that's what's working, don't fight it. Do more of the things that are proven to be effective.
All right, Nazira, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Question is, how do you answer this? When the prospect says, James, I'll let you answer this. When the prospect says, no, I don't want to receive your emails. I've just started my home search, and I'm really not, I'm really not looking to meet with a real estate agent. Well, first of all, they shouldn't know anything about meeting with a real estate agent at that point.
Because, and we did this, we did lots and lots of role playing on Friday, and you know, this came up a few times. You have to have the benefit before the commitment. And if you say, look, Craig, I'd like to meet with you because when I meet with you, I can take down what you're looking for, and then I can email you properties that match your criteria. It doesn't work that way. I know to you it's the same thing, but it isn't the same thing because you're not allowing the prospect to focus on the benefit first. What you're doing is you're scaring them away by mentioning the commitment first. Now they're not able to
let's stop there
focus.
again. I want to make sure everyone gets what he just said. Okay, because some of you, when we hear your calls, this is what you're saying. Yeah, when can we get together so I can take down exactly what you're looking for so I can send you distress sales and company-owned properties and all the great deals? It's a free service, and you're never obligated to do anything. You see, I led with the commitment first. When can we get together?
Here's the problem. Every word that you said after when can we get together, I didn't even hear.
Correct.
Because to the prospect, they are completely focused on a salesperson just said, why don't we get together? And as soon as a salesperson says, why don't we get together, all I'm thinking in my mind is, okay, what would be your best, how do I get this guy off the phone?
Okay, so look at when Nazira is asking, no, when they say, no, I don't want to receive your emails because I've just started my search and I'm not looking to meet an agent. If you do this correctly, they shouldn't even know about meeting with an agent until they've opted in and said they want the list. So, James, do it properly now.
Craig, would you like me to email you properties every day as they come on the market from all the different real estate companies? What I'll also make sure to include are any of the great deals that you might not find elsewhere, bank foreclosures, company-owned properties. I'll make sure you're getting distress sales. It's an absolutely free service. You're never obligated to buy a home. Would you like me to set you up on those daily emails, Craig?
Yeah, I would like to get that.
Okay, great. When have you got 10 or 15 minutes so we can sit down together and go over your criteria in detail? What would be more convenient for you? Days, evenings, weekends? What would be best, Craig?
Well, can't you just send me the emails, the houses that match my criteria?
Craig, I really want to do a great job for you, and what I find is that if I can take down exactly what you're looking for, I can be assured that we're not missing out on the perfect property, or worse, sending you hundreds of properties that may or may not match your criteria. It's an absolutely free appointment. As I said, you're never obligated to buy a home, but if we can sit down for 15 minutes, I can be assured we're doing a great job and not missing anything. And as I said, I'm flexible. What would be convenient for you? Something during the day, something in the evenings? What would be best?
Perfect. All right, so that's the answer. That's how we do it, folks. And not everyone's going to say yes, but guess who will? The best ones. All right, Florence is asking this question. Florence is asking, is there a list on the coaching website that lists various USPs and the restrictions that members have used? So the rules, I guess. Okay, yes. So if you go to the ad generator, and Andrea will show you the ad generator, and then there's also the certificate generator. Are the certificates attached to the USPs yet, Andrea?
No, they are not.
Can you get after Adrian to do that?
Yes, I was just about to say I am in close contact with him about the to-do list, so this is definitely on there.
Okay, good. Yes, keep hounding him. Okay, so right now you have to go in two different spots. You have to go to the certificate generator, and that's where you're going to find the conditions. So just pop one open, maybe the $1,000, 60 days or $1,000. Okay, so Florence, those are the rules, are the conditions. I think that's what you mean. I hope that's what you mean. If not, just type in a clarification, but I think that's what you're looking for. Yeah, so yeah, what are the restrictions to the $1,000 offer? There they are right there. How's that, Florence? Okay, next question. Peter's asking this, is there a personality type that fits the inside sales position better? Well, I like them to have some I like them to have some D, but I like them to have some C. Now, what is C? Well, C is compliance. I have 5C. James, you call it anal. But this is the systems part of me, and this is why I am able to sit down and on the phone and make hours of calls using the same script over and over and over again. It's James, that's the robot part of me.
Right, yeah.
And it's something you probably wouldn't be very good at.
But but I get it, and this is something that we talked about on Friday as well. Is if you understand that we're all made up of the 4 personality types, but we can have we're not balanced equally. What you can do is, the better you understand yourself, you can dial up the parts of your personality that don't naturally come to the forefront. We talked about dialing up your D. So some may have very little in their natural D personality. It certainly isn't overwhelming, but everybody has some in them. And there are occasions where, if you're aware of your tendencies and who you are as a person, if you're really not organized, you don't look at the details in any way, the more aware of this you are, it takes a bit of work, but you can address that, and you can really reach to pull up that part of your personality to an extent. But what Craig is saying is definitely true. For an inside salesperson, the reason they got to have some D is because if they're nothing but I, what they're going to do is you're going to pay them to have conversations. Right? That's what you're doing. You're paying them to have conversations. Whereas that being able to pull up the D part of their personality is what allows a good communicator, an I, to actually accomplish what the task is on the phone, which is to determine timing and motivation, and then make an offer, and then go on to the next one. And of course, the C type, the C part of the personality, is what keeps you, structured, regimented, keeps you on track. So, I mean, really, you're looking for the perfect human being. which isn't out there, but you at least have a guideline.
Well, I mean, they broke the mold after you were created, James. So James is the last perfect person to ever be created. Alexander is saying, I have 0 C. I took the test twice. Am I doomed? But James, you don't have any C, do you?
You know what? I do think I do have a negative C.
Negative, yeah. You know, James is not doomed. But no, look, you're going to, in a perfect world, be doing what you're best suited to do. Right? So if you don't have any C, you're going to hire somebody to take care of anything that requires C personality.
Remember this, it's not that you don't have any C, it's that your C is overwhelmed by your other traits that come to the forefront. Everybody has some C, but some, it comes out to the forefront far more than others. Everybody is made up of the 4 personality types. When you read how Dr. Marsden describes the personality types, he makes it very clear everybody has all 4 within them. It's that we're not in balance. So if you're a really, really strong D, it overwhelms any C in your personality. But it doesn't mean you don't have any C. So this is what we got to be aware of, and the better you get to know yourself and you understand your tendencies, the better you can, address this.
Okay, Susan's still having some problems here. Susan, we'll get it figured out. If not during the helpline here, after, we'll work with Andrea and Adrian to find out why you're having these problems viewing or hearing us. Tom says, hi, Craig. Just a note to let you know that James and Lester were fantastic. They actually say great at the boot camp we attended last week. Well, thank you for that, Tom. Good to hear.
It was a lot of fun.
And Daniel McGuire says there was a running concern from the boot camp last week about getting started with a limited marketing budget. The question came up, do we need 2 websites if we're generating leads via Commissions Inc. and other lead generation companies? Well, look, I would have, if you're only going to have 1 site, keep the less branded site. If I had to pick between 2.
And here's the thing, too, is I think that's a bad example, because if you said I have very limited funds, but I have Commissions Inc., well, you know what? If you have Commissions Inc. and you have limited funds, that's a pretty hefty, thing to get started with first. It's pretty expensive.
But isn't that like $1,000 or $1,500 a month?
$1,500 to $1,800 a month.
Right.
I mean, it flat out works. There's no doubt about it. You will generate
as opposed to the success website that's $129. So if you've got limited funds,
right.
You're saying, should we get rid of the thing that costs $129 and instead do the thing that's $1,500?
Right. Right. And we talked about this, at length on Friday. These companies that generate leads are excellent. They are absolutely excellent, and they flat out work. The point is this: if you're using Bold Leads, for example, your success website is not involved in any way. It's not involved in it. Bold Leads has its own website that the prospects go to generate the leads. It has nothing to do with your success website. If you're using ZBuyer, if you're using Commissions Inc., it has nothing to do with your success website. So if your question is, if I'm doing those things, do I need to have a success website? Well, one has nothing to do with the other. So technically, no, you don't. What we're suggesting is if a less branded site success website is $129, and that allows you to very inexpensively run your own ads as well, it kind of makes dollars and cents to do that. I mean, one transaction would pay for your website for a long, long time. And, this is one of the observations that Craig made with the Platinum students, is that the reason they're doing all of these different things is because they all produce income. And if they produce any income whatsoever, it's far going to outweigh the cost of doing it.
Okay, a couple other questions here. First of all, we've got a comment from Florence, and this may help Susan, who is having some difficulty today. Not sure if it will or not, but anyway, Florence says, to log on to the coaching site, you have to have https : before coaching.craigproctor.com, just like it says in the top left of the screen. Okay, so if you don't have the https : in front of craigproctor.coaching.com. Florence says it will not work. All right, Sarah says, can I find the personality types on the website? Okay, well, the test is on the website. Andrea, can you show everybody how they can take the test again themselves? Or if you're interviewing inside sales agents or outside sales agents, okay, go back and do that in slow motion so everybody can see that again, please. You're too quick. So right there, online test, so click on that. Okay, and then create new test. Let's just click on that for fun. Okay, now you would type in, you know, your name, your contact information, or whoever you want to send the test to. So if I wanted to send this to James, I'd put in his name and email address. It'd go to James, and then boom, it'll send the test to you or whoever you want the test to go to, and then it'll they'll complete the test, and then it'll mark up the test. So some of you are unaware of this. It's an awesome feature of the coaching. There it is. And if it was filled out, it's not. It'll come back with the test results, and you folks all should be using this. Again, I'm going to repeat this. There are so many features and benefits of the coaching website that some of you are unaware of, and it might not be a bad idea to just spend some time looking at the coaching website to see all the wonderful resources that are at your fingertips. Victor is asking this: do all these lead generation companies cater to Canadian realtors? Yes. Yes, Victor, they do. Commissions Inc., Bold Leads, lots of our fellow Canadian coaching and platinum members using those programs. Alexander is asking this: Bold Leads is very reasonable to me anyway. She says $200 per zip code plus $200 advertising budget, and they waive the $200 setup fee for Craig Proctor coaching members. Over the weekend, I got 7 leads, all with phone numbers, addresses, and emails. Pretty darn good, I agree. Chris Cornell is asking this: I'm running a branded display ad with my USP. The USP is I'll sell your home for 100% of your asking price, or I'll pay the difference, in a 55-plus community. Should I include my cell phone or the branded USP hotline besides a content-rich or benefit-rich domain name that puts them that directs them to my success landing page? Older prospects may prefer a phone number versus the internet. Well, I always recommend that you should do that all the time, 55 plus or not. We should always give our prospects multiple different ways to respond. We should always do that, even if you're targeting a 25 plus target. Always give your prospects choices. If you do that, you will generate more leads. Let them respond the way they want to respond. A lot of us figure, well, you know, nobody's going to go to the hotline, or, you know, I'm in California. James, you're in Carlsbad, so you might think, well, you know, nobody's going to call the hotline here. You know, in Florida, I can see that, you know, they got an older demographics, but don't worry about that. Always offer a hotline and a website, okay? For the small cost of the hotline every month, it's worth it. If you cheap out and you get rid of the hotline, or you don't offer it, like you're not offering it here, and you're forcing everyone to go to your website, would most of the prospects go to the website? Yep, most of them would. But if you lose one transaction, Chris, because you didn't offer the hotline, that one transaction you lost would more than pay for your hotline many, many, many times over. All right, James, is there anything you want to say before we wrap this up? I guess not. James is the quiet, shy type. Let's go on to Parnell Quinn. Next question. What are some of the best websites to find for closure listings? Okay, well, you can belong to RedX, okay, REDX. They've been at some of our conferences, and they will email you every day a list of expireds and for sale by owners. Is James with us, or did he leave the webinar. Andrea, do you know?
I see his line is still live, but he must have stepped away for a moment.
Yeah, maybe a washroom break. Chris is asking, which phone number should I give? Give a recorded. Here's what you're going to do, Chris. You're going to have your benefit-rich domain name. You're going to have your hotline, and you're going to have your direct number. You always want to have your direct number. I mean, the idea with having the website and the recorded hotline is those are non-threatening ways for prospects to reach you. But the best prospects, of course, are just going to call you. So we don't want to not give them the option to just call you. So there will be prospects that will just call your cell phone or call your office, your direct number. But there's a whole lot more prospects that aren't ready to talk to a real estate agent yet, and they're going to prefer one of the non-threatening ways to get some more information. So that's why we offer the hotline and the website in addition to your cell number. All right, James, you back with us?
Hello, yes I am. I'm sorry about that. I just had to take a very short break there. Hope you didn't call for me.
I said washroom break, but who knows?
Was there something pressing?
Well, yes. We're now towards the end of the call, and I always like to go to you as we wrap this up to get some of your wise remarks, advice.
Listen to this. Okay.
And,
well, you know what? First of all, the reason that the boot camp on Friday was as successful as it was because of the contributions from all of the students that were there, all the members of the system there, and everybody's willingness to contribute what they were doing, what they've had success with, as well as what they're struggling with. It really, really makes a big difference. It's kind of like we can't fix what's broken if we don't know what's broken, and the danger is if we don't know what's working, then we can be trying to fix something that in fact is working as well. So that was really, really valuable. And you know, the same is true on these webinars. The more you contribute, the more you share with us what you're doing, what is working, what isn't working, the more you contribute, the better it is, the better we're able to help sort of pinpoint what you want to be doing. And so I can just encourage you to keep doing that. And we'll do another boot camp, absolutely. I want to say we had over 200 members at the boot camp on Friday. I mean, it was packed, and
that's a good turnout.
It was really, really fantastic. Yeah, it was really great. So look forward to the next one. And by the way, I got just about everybody there. Everybody committed that they're going to come to the test drive in September as well. For the Platinum Test Drive, and that will even escalate this to an even higher level. So we can look forward to that as well, Craig.
Yeah, so we have our Toronto Super Conference coming up in August, and then just a couple weeks later, we're back in Anaheim, California, for our next Super Conference, and that's where we're going to do a big Platinum intro to everybody, let you sit basically at the adult table, where all the coaching members are going to be able to mix for 3 days with our Platinum members. These are members, many of them, that are making in the high 6 and even 7 figures. So that's a great opportunity. You don't want to miss out on that. So you can get information on the coaching side on the dates of all the upcoming conferences. But we're going to wrap it up for today. Don't forget to check the website. Okay, check the coaching website. I know some of you are having difficulty. If you are, by the way, having difficulty with the new site, you can call my office toll-free at 1-800-538-1034. Let us know what you're having trouble with, and we'll have our IT guy connect with you and get those problems fixed. But make sure that you're on all the webinars this week, especially the role play with us on Thursday. And don't forget to upload your ads for James and I to look at on the ad or marketing clinic on Friday. So go out there and sell some houses. That's it for today. I want to thank you for being a Craig Proctor coaching member, and we'll talk to you all soon.
This officially ends the webinar. Everyone have a wonderful afternoon.